Hello, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, wherever you're tuning in from. Feel free to drop where you're listening from. I love to see all around the world where people are tuning in from. And we actually have, Ashley and I have a funny connection of location because she is living in my hometown in Oregon, which is really special. And I will actually be back there this Saturday. So
Nice.
excited to be home, but yeah, everyone drop where you're listening from. I'm currently in Austin, and Ashley's in Bend. But for everyone kind of trickling in, wanted to introduce Ashley. So she is the director of marketing at SearchLab and has over 15 years of experience, a content strategist. So I'm excited for her to walk us through today of, we're going into the new year. We're kind of analyzing our 2025 strategy, looking to our 2026 strategy. And I think that generating content ideas, having systems that work for these boundaries in place so we're not burning out, we're not getting overwhelmed and stressed. So yeah, excited for you to walk us through.
Yeah, protecting burnout is so key, especially in a new year where you're like, I want to do all of these things and we're going to reinvent the wheel. And it's like, oh, you got to be careful there.
Yeah. And I think that this gives us, a way of building in those new ideas, but also taking a step back of analyzing what actually works for your business, where keywords and searches that align with your business, taking it a step further where you can break down those keywords. Like, I think that a lot of us have to think we need to do something new all the time. And yes, we can do it new, but it should still be, rooted in what's working well and what has always kind of worked well for our businesses and for our content.
Yeah, really happy you said that. The very second to last slide in my deck gives away a little bit something within there. So very happy you're already echoing that point.
Perfect. We have people from Houston, Texas. I love the Texas shout outs. New York, Wisconsin, Germany, Virginia. Wow, everyone's tuning in. Bonjour from France. Ooh.
Love it.
Great to see everyone in the chat. And also, this is like our last session of the year. So I think it's a great way to close it out, go into 2026 with just like inspiration, new ideas, systems that work. So yeah, feel free to do your thing. Take it over.
Perfect. Okay. Let's see how all this works. All right. Sharing my screen. Can everyone see it okay?
Yes. I also just wanted to shout out that we will have a Q&A at the end. Lydia's here. Hi. It's fun to see people that I've met in person. Hi from Greece. Wow.
Ooh. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting.
Yes, feel free to drop your questions. We are going to have a Q&A at the end. So we will be looking at those questions and answer them at the end. But Ashley, take it away.
Perfect. All right, let's talk about how to come up with 100 new topic ideas. As she mentioned, I'm Ashley Segura. I'm the director of marketing over at SearchLab. We're a local SEO and PPC agency. So content saturation is at like an extreme high. Over 7.5 million blog posts, well, actually probably even more now, are being published on a regular basis. And then we have the search algos that are prioritizing intent matching topics and authority building over those lovely basic keyword stuffing types of pieces of content that we're seeing even more now with all of the quote unquote LLM optimization. So all in all, like just as in general, us marketers are struggling to create content that actually builds authority and converts our users. We have our traditional content strategies, and we're constantly trying to figure out how can we reinvent the wheel to meet our goals and to guide users through different journeys. But without a solid system for topic ideation, so many brands are falling behind. They are just trying to check boxes. They are going through and trying to do the newest, latest, flashiest thing without ever building out a true system for coming up with new topic ideas, which is really where the beginning of a content strategy starts. So I'm going to walk you through the multiple steps that I've been using for years to come up with topic ideations for either brands that I've worked with or for my clients. This has been tried and true, regardless of a Google update or LLM optimization coming in. This has continued to work to create topics that actually move the needle. So, the very first step that I always do is perform a content audit. Because before we go and create a new compass of what to do next and where we should be going, we need to figure out what was working and what hasn't been working. So to do that, I like to use Screaming Frog. There's a ton of SEO tools to where you can perform a crawl and get all of the data from your website or your client's website. Screaming Frog is just my favorite to do so, and it's free for up to 500 pages. So I'll do a crawl, I will collect all the data, and then I'll start to put it into a spreadsheet. I don't know if there's any other spreadsheet fans out there, but Google Sheets is my jam. That is where I live 90% of my day is inside of a Google Sheet. And then I'll take that export and I'll start to filter out any kind of patterns that I could see. Through that Screaming Frog crawl, you're going to very quickly see which are your best performing blog posts, which are your best performing landing pages, and start to get an idea of what those topics are. So I used to work with a lot of food bloggers. So just about all of the examples in this deck is going to be food related. So apologies if you haven't had lunch yet or if you haven't had dinner yet, but this is going to be very food related. So I'll take the top performing topics and top performing topics from a crawl, that's really defined up to you. Whether your KPIs are traffic conversions, lead gen, time on page, whatever your important KPIs are, that's going to dictate what top performing topics are. So I'll take my top performing topics and I'll drop them into Ahrefs tool, their free content generator. This is a really cool tool. So on the top right of the tool, you can choose the platform, aka what the content medium is going to be. So it's going to be a blog post, or it's going to be a landing page, or a white paper, what have you. And then you can ask it to generate 3 ideas, 5 ideas, 10 ideas. And what it does is from the keyword of the best performing topics, it will start to generate other ideas that are similar to that, sometimes more on the pillar side of things that dives in a little bit more, but already it will start to generate new content ideas for you that people are actively searching for right now. Excuse me. So then I'll go to everybody's best friend, ChatGPT, to take this a step further. And I'll take one of the ideas from Ahrefs or one of the ideas from the original crawl, and I'll drop it into ChatGPT and be like, hey, what are 10 other topic ideas to create a blog post? Because that's what I'm working on. That's my content medium about turkey brine recipes, for example. And so ChatGPT, as about 2 out of 10 ideas are like actually great ideas that you're like, oh, I didn't think of that. That's great to dive into. The science behind brining a turkey. No one who's searching for turkey brine recipes cares about the science behind it. So always think about your user intent behind a topic when you're using AI to come up with other topic ideas. But brining on a budget, the perfect brine for every palate, some of these could work really well. Brine pairing with stuffings and sides. Like these are other topic ideas that are somewhat relevant to something that already worked really well. The idea is to amplify what has already worked really well, that your audience, your customers, your potential customers have already told you that they like from you that you're producing, and produce more of that. So just from those steps, from doing a crawl, dropping in the top performing topics into Ahrefs content generator, dropping them into ChatGPT, you're going to start to get tons of new topic ideas. And I'll just repeat this exercise. I'll go back to my crawl, go with another topic, and then repeat going into Ahrefs and ChatGPT. And slowly but surely, I'm going to start to build dozens of topic ideas just from this one exercise that takes minus the time for a crawl, like an hour.
Sorry to jump in here, but I just wanted to ask, like, obviously kind of answer engine optimization is now, where people should be headed as AI models, generate and pull from different resources. So do you kind of divide those two of like, okay, this is more SEO, this is more AEO, or do you kind of just blend them naturally?
So I'm on the team that isn't a fan of the whole AEO being different than SEO.
Yeah,
I believe it's the same thing.
yeah,
When you do good SEO, you are complementing both parties.
yes, yes.
There's not enough data out there. There's a lot of, what do you call it when it's a big show and tell, and just to ruffle everyone's feathers. It's the new shiny thing right now, and it has been through this year. And so there's a lot of AEO experts out there, and not a huge fan and supporter of that. I'm a supporter of do good SEO, and
Yeah,
then your content will show in those snippets as well. Your content will appear as recommendations in ChatGPT. We're moving more into what traditional SEO used to be and more of the PR style SEO. That's satisfying those.
mhm. Love
I hope
that.
that answers it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's a very fun, controversial time in SEO right now.
I know, but no, I think that you answered it nicely of just like, okay, we hear a new buzzword and acronym, we're like, "Oh my gosh, this means I have to, like, change the whole strategy." But it's the fundamentals and, the strategy around SEO should be the same, that's not changing. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah,
Yeah, definitely focusing more on PR, which through creating different topic ideas, that's going to satisfy a lot of those outlets.
yeah,
And through doing a content gap analysis, you're going to find a lot of holes in your content as well that people are searching for. So we'll dive into that. It's a perfect segue. So, a content gap analysis is basically looking at what your competitors are ranking for that are missed opportunities for you. It's topic ideas and keywords that are still relevant for you that you just don't have any content for yet. And so, this is also a really good opportunity to identify like which direction you need to go and as far as putting new resources. So I use SEMrush's keyword gap tool for this. You could use Moz, you could use SE ranking, you could use insert any other SEO tool that you like. Most all of them have some kind of keyword gap tool within their suite of tools. So I'll drop in a few different competitors for my clients, and I will filter things by the search volume. Any kind of branded keywords, I'll remove those because my client's brand doesn't need to write about the competitor's brand. That's not what we're trying to do here. And what I'm looking for is keywords ranking within the top 2 to 5 pages of SERPs. That's the sweet spot. That means the competition isn't on page 1 yet, but if they're on 2 to 5, clearly enough people are searching for this, and the competitors just missed the mark. They aren't there yet. So there's a great opportunity there for you to create a new piece of content to get on page 1. So when you export this out of SEMrush, you'll get something that looks a little bit like this. It's the keyword and the search volume. So I'll sort that column of search volume from high to low to start to identify which keywords are getting the most searches and which ones would actually be worth it for me. But this is where it also gets tricky. Just because your competitor is writing about it doesn't mean that you should too. So you want to choose things that are actually relevant for your brand or your client's brand. And so this is where I'll start identifying, okay, out of these keywords, I'll add another column to my spreadsheet and I'll call it suggested topics. And I'll start to just brainstorm some title ideas to see, is there a twist here that I could make relevant for my client? Is this actually something that they should be writing about? And if so, what's a rough idea for a title in here? This is also another step where you can drop AI in, and you can choose which keywords you like best and then drop them into ChatGPT and say, hey, what are some good topic ideas for my brand or for my client that does X, Y, and Z that would be relevant? So from doing a content gap analysis, you're going to get a ton of topics from that suggested topic column that you add. And then you can go back to the keyword gap tool, add another round of competitors, and repeat this exercise. So from 2 exercise, you're already getting easily at least 20 to 30, if not more, new topic ideas. The more competitors you have, the more ideas you can get and the more opportunities you could see as well. So this third step is competitor research. We're going to continue to dive in to see what is ranking, what's doing great, and what opportunities you have to jump on there. So this is where I'll go into SEMrush's topic research tool. This is my absolute favorite tool from an SEO suite, it is phenomenal to come up with topic ideas that are relevant to each other without being the same exact thing. This is where like a lot of great light bulb moments can happen for your brand or for your client. So I'll take one of the keywords in there, and granted, this could be a keyword from one of your new topic ideas or from one of your crawls, or just a keyword that you know you need to write content around. You can drop it in there and it'll start to paste cards. Within these cards, it's going to tell you the who, what, when, where, why, how questions that people are asking. It's also going to show you the current top 10 ranking articles for that specific keyword. This is really awesome because instead of going to Google yourself or using another tool to like collect all this information, then manually visit these pages, it compiles it all together. So then you can just click on these and you can actually visually see what kind of content they have, how many photos they have. Is it a bunch of bullets? Is it a shorter piece of content? Is it a larger piece of content? All of those are also clues into what can help you populate within AI as well.
Yeah, wow.
So, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's crazy. I mean, overall, love SEMrush. It's like a fantastic SEO tool. But I did not know that it kind of broke down those cards. So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's wild, and you can triple check it. I'm a triple checker, especially when we're using tools. So I'll take one of the new keyword ideas to say we started with gluten-free recipes. Now we're going to go towards gluten-free pizza. I'll drop that into the keyword overview, and I'll make sure that there really are enough of my demographics searching for this actively. 8,000 could work great for a smaller website that's, trying to get some kind of traction and traffic over to their site. Your minimum volume levels are going to be totally different from brand to brand and client to client. So just make sure that the keyword volume actually matches something that's competitive enough and worth you to put resources towards. And then you can add those new topics to your content calendar. Like that's the third exercise where by now, when you go through and you look at these cards, this is just one keyword, gluten-free recipes. Now you're looking at sweet potato, peanut butter, coconut milk, gluten-free pizza. Like you can come up with a whole bunch of new topic ideas that you vetted for and made sure people are still actively searching for, and confidently add them to your content calendar. So the fourth step is the scariest one. It's when you actually ask a user, what do they want to hear about? What do they want to know about? This is where you think about user intent. And this is also where a lot of the sales enablement topics live. So depending upon whether you're B2B, B2C, whether you have an actual tangible product, whether you have a service, whether you're just trying to get people to sign up for your email newsletter, your users are at different stages of the journey to get them to sign up for that email newsletter or to get them to purchase your course, whatever that looks like. So I like to divide out my content strategy to make sure there's enough sales enablement topics added to my content calendar, and for the different journey stages that they're at, whether they're at just the awareness, they've identified, hey, I have something that needs to be solved, who can solve it? Or they are past that and they're now researching what's the best brand to solve this with. There's different types of topics that will fit better for different stages. So the simplest thing you can do is send a content questionnaire to some of your recent customers and just ask like, hey, in the last 12 months, what kind of services did you need? What did you like about our products? Like this looks very different for everyone, but sending out questionnaires to previous customers, whether in an email blast, through social posts, or just direct from account managers or CS teams to your customers, that also works and you can gain a ton of insights. Listening to sales calls is where like there is so much gold there. Try to listen to 1 to 2 sales calls a month. I know now that we have AI, there's no reason to listen to them. We can just drop transcripts in. No one has time to actually listen to sales calls. 100% agree, and I get it, but there is something beautiful that happens when you actually listen to a sales calls and you hear where the pauses are. You hear where the emphasis in words are. So if you can spare 30 minutes, listen to at least a call a month just to keep yourself on pace. And the rest, you can download the transcripts, drop them into ChatGPT and say, hey, what were the hesitations? What were the questions? What was the tone? And then what are some blog posts that I can create? Or what are some sales collateral pieces, a white paper, a case study, something that I could create that would have helped this person close? I also like to have monthly one-on-ones with the CS teams. Don't just meet with the VPs, don't just meet with the directors and the heads, like actually meet with the people who are directly talking to customers on a regular basis to get a feel, hey, how was the last month? What was the sentiment? What was the questions? What were the new competitors that people brought up during the calls? Or what issues did they have? Since they're the ones talking to customers the most often and the most regularly, those are the people that I also want to talk to too, as I'm trying to figure out what kind of content should we be creating. So you can take all of those ideas and go to ChatGPT, go to Claude, go to insert your favorite AI tool here and ask, hey, we're getting a lot of questions about X, Y, and Z. For this example, I said, we're getting a lot of questions in our contact us form asking how we do link building. What kind of content can we create on our website to help address this? Again, any AI tool, about 20% of what it puts out is great. And 80% you need to do with a fine-tooth comb. So make sure you actually read through all of this and make sure that this makes sense for your brand to talk about and that it will actually hit the mark and help give more information for the different user stages. On something like this, you do not need to check keyword volume. This is not the type of content that you're hoping to rank and you want to optimize the crap out of it. This is content that you are helping through the sales cycle. This is sales collateral for the different journey stages. So this isn't something that you need to really go and triple check that there's enough people searching for this. If one person had this question and filled out a contact form or asked your CS team, that's worth creating the blog post for. That's worth creating that white paper for and arming your sales and CS teams and account managers with this new piece of content. So going through this exercise, this is all going to be more sales collateral driven topics, and you can add all of these new topics to your content calendar, which again can be as easy as a Google Sheet. This is something that you're going to want to repeat on a monthly basis as well. So the fifth step, oh, go ahead.
No, sorry. I was just going to say, I love that you called out that like from user questions, from, you know, their maybe their pain points, their real life experience with your brand. I love that you called out you don't need, you know, any sort of like massive search just to make a blog post or make content from it, because that's a way for people to feel really taken care of almost, or like that personalized piece of like, oh, we're actively listening to you and building those solutions kind of as we go. So I love that you called out, right? Like there's different there's different I guess uses for content, and it doesn't have to always be just for ranking, just for the massive search. It can be very personal to real life questions and experiences. So love that.
Yeah, and make sure on your content calendar or however you track your content metrics that you identify that this is sales collateral. So when you're going through your KPIs or your end of month reports or your quarterly or yearly reports and your charts are all over the place, make sure that these pieces of content are not reflective of that and they fit in a totally different bucket of KPIs.
Yeah.
Perfect. So the fifth step is to leverage AI for secondary topics. So this is as we really like dive into that route. You say gluten-free is your primary. Now you have all these gluten-free recipes like gluten-free pizza crust. Like this is diving more into how you can create that pillar piece of content. So take some of your seed topics from this new content calendar that you just dropped a bunch of new content ideas in, and we're going to start to build content clusters around them. This is where you can really help build your authority around specific topics, aka help with AI. I won't even say it, but AI things. That's as close as I'll say with it. So I'll drop some of these topic ideas and I'll start with ChatGPT and I'll be like, hey, can you help me come up with some secondary topic ideas for gluten-free recipes? And again, 20% rule applied. Out of 10 new ideas, 2 of them were actually somewhat decent. Gluten-free lifestyle tips. If someone's searching for gluten-free recipes, they are gluten-free as a person. So how to build a gluten-free kitchen for home cooking, a little bit of a stretch, but there could be something there where you can work that topic a little bit more. You can go do some keyword research on gluten-free kitchens and see, is there any kind of topic ideas within that. So take an idea that does make sense and does work, go check the keyword volume and make sure that, yes, there is 6,600 people searching for this. That's enough for that smaller food blogger for them to create a new topic on. I do want to note that high keyword search volume isn't always necessary for secondary keywords, because the goal here is to help define your authority within a very specific niche. That's why you're creating a pillar piece of content. You have your gluten-free recipes, and then these are all going to be supporting pieces of content around gluten-free different recipes or gluten-free lifestyles, so that both users and search engines see, oh, you really do know that gluten-free realm. You have a lot of content about gluten-free. That's what the true goal of doing something like this is. So you can also use the keyword strategy builder or answer the public. Yes.
Yeah.
I think they renamed recently. I
Oh.
don't remember. They could have, they could not. There's a bunch of tools that do this, to where you can do this visually and drop in one and see like all the other related keywords. I like to do something like this and look at the sub pages for this to see what else is relevant. So like gluten-free cookies, let's get even more specific, gluten-free sugar cookies. Okay, that's super niche. That's not just cookies in general. That's going to be like a post of 10 different recipes in it. Gluten-free sugar cookies is going to be a singular piece of content that'll go great underneath gluten-free Christmas cookies, which also goes great underneath gluten-free recipes. Kind of see the pattern that we're building here? And then you can add these secondary topics to your content calendar. So the sixth step is understanding the user intent behind all of this. Tools really help guide you with this, but you really need to do your own research. So of course, shout out to Reddit. Reddit will let us know what people really do like or not like. So I'll drop in one of these new keywords, whether secondary or primary keyword, and I'll see what's the conversation that people are having. What kind of questions are they asking? And I noticed that dry brining kept appearing. So I went to Facebook groups as well that my target audience was in, food bloggers, Food Blogger Central Facebook group. I looked for turkey brining, dry turkey brining, and just wanted to see what is the tone? What kind of questions do people have? Like, all of this helps dictate your headings. And then I'll also check the SERPs to see what is going on in that whole world. And Google will change its search results as it gets better at understanding what the user wants. For example, this is the smallest font in the world and you won't be able to see this, but these screenshots on one side, it's orange chicken sauce recipe. 90% of what's on page 1 is orange chicken, not the sauce. There's only 2 that actually are recipes for the sauce. So the understanding of what the user intent here was that people want to make easy orange chicken. So they're going to click on that and then they're going to find the sauce on the actual page versus finding an individual sauce recipe. Whereas the second example is Alfredo sauce recipe. Almost all of the results were actual Alfredo sauce, not Alfredo pasta recipe. So it's always good to go to Google and test for yourself to see what's actually populating. A side note, your 30,000 word guide on renting an apartment in New York City is not going to rank in the top 10 for apartments in New York City. And that's because someone who's looking for renting an apartment in New York City does not care about reading 30,000 words. They just need an apartment and they want to find one quickly. So as you're thinking about the user intent behind your new topics and your new topic ideas, also think about how long your content should be and what the content medium should be. Should it be a blog post? Should it be an ebook? Should it be a case study? Depending upon the user journey and their intent, different content mediums are going to help satisfy them differently. So this is where I'll add a column called user intent and content medium to my content calendar. So then that way, as I'm working through all of these new topics to create and how to create them, it's all identified in one place. So the 7th and final step is, if you want traffic to stay, you got to create a helpful outline. This is where you don't want to be spammy. You really want to be helpful with your content. I mean, we went through this a couple of years ago and we're still going through it. Create helpful content. But what the heck does that mean? Well, take some of your topics from your content calendar. Let's go back to that topic research tool. Go ahead and paste that. If there's any geography data, you can share that in there. And you can start to identify what the high search volume is for different topic cards. And this is going to help you understand the user intent. If someone's searching for pork chop temperature, they're most likely baking the pork chop or they're cooking a pork chop and they want to know, what does the final cook temperature mean? So baked pork chops is, out of these cards, makes the most sense for this keyword. You also want to see what people are actively asking. This is that who, what, when, where, why, how questions that people are actively searching for right now in relation to that topic. And these can become great headings. This can dictate your entire heading structure for this brand new piece of content, or it can also help you come up with new topic ideas. For example, the question, which is healthier, pork chops or baked chicken? One of your H2s could be, are pork chops healthy? You get the idea. You also want to look for any patterns from the top 10 current ranking articles. In this example, the word juicy was in the title on three different articles. So this is a good indicator that you should probably put the word juicy in your new pork chop article. This is a good example of making sure that you do so in a natural way. So 60-minute baked frozen pork chop recipe that's actually juicy, or cooking methods for juicy pork chops. Never want to keyword stuff. You always want to make sure you're doing it in a way that it actually sounds natural. And if you can't do it, then don't do it. You also don't want to let a keyword modifier dilute your topic. So juicy is a keyword modifier in here. For example, baked potato soup with bacon is not going to rank for baked potato soup because we don't know how many vegetarians are out there that are just looking for a baked potato soup recipe. And if yours with bacon pops up, they're not going to click on it. So make sure, if for this juicy example, people who are searching for pork chops don't want a dry pork chop. They want a juicy one. So it worked. Bacon doesn't work in this example. Through is a really good tool for coming up with a full outline that makes sure that you include all of the helpful information. It gives you word count recommendations. It gives you an entire brief of, hey, this is how you should do your heading structure. This is how many words, how many images on average are on there. This is a really good guide to make sure that the new content you're producing from all of these new topics is actually helpful. It is unique. It has some value add. But like we talked about in the very beginning of this, there's a lot of great content potential already on your website that you can dive into. So I have a 60-40 rule that I highly recommend. 60% of your time and resources should be focused on updating and optimizing your existing content. Run it through or any of the other helpful content like outline structures that are out there. And then 40% of your time and resources should be focused on creating these 100 new topic ideas. And that's all for me. That's my LinkedIn. If you guys want to connect on LinkedIn, I would love to connect.
I love it. Thank you so much, Ashley. That was great. I think that it walked us through like step by step, literally how, because, at the end, actually building the content, I'm curious of like where you think AI should play a role in that, or if you think AI is more just a role in the research, in the kind of the crawl, the scraping of the data, the outlining, and then, is it's still kind of necessary and essential for us to manually write the blog post or even social post captioning or different mediums.
It depends. Is Google listening? Just kidding. I think for heading structure, it can be really helpful, but also there's so many great tools to back what your headings really should be based on the questions that people are already asking that you can manually go do the research for or use a tool to do. Outside of that, there's a whole lot of copy and paste within AI right now. And so Claude is probably the best writing tool, but even then I don't think we're there yet to where we can like really confidently use AI. I'm seeing on LinkedIn, 90% of everyone's post is written by AI and it reads. It's obvious.
Yes.
My favorite is when people will go in and they'll do like one misspelling to make it feel like it was human. And it was like, no, girl, the whole thing read like AI. We still see past that. So as users, know your demographic. If they're tech savvy, if you're marketing to marketers, know that we can see through your AI. If you're marketing to the 60 to 70-year-old generation, maybe they aren't catching it yet, and maybe you're strapped on resources and it makes sense for you to do so. But I think it really depends on your audience and if they can see through it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think unfortunately a lot of brands have leaned too heavily on that, and I think
Mhm.
I'm a believer that, our human voice is way more powerful than AI, and I do think though that even the outlining alone, is really powerful
Mhm.
because then it gives you a structure of, okay, and I know these kind of gaps that I need to fill in.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but thank you, that was really helpful, and, I mean, as most of you know, I'm working Metricool, so it only makes sense that I would kind of, like, show some of the ways that the insights we learned today can be helpful with a tool like Metricool, so I'm just gonna share kind of, like, some ideas because we've talked a lot about, blog posts and your website, and I think, that is a great way for building kind of the long-term authority, and I'm interested to hear too of, like, kind of what you recommend for people that do have a really strong SEO strategy of how they can, thoughtfully kind of build their social strategy if they're like if they are a blogger and they're like, "Okay, this is still my main kind of medium, but I want to really expand my presence on social," of what you can, I guess, give, any insights there.
Yeah, definitely. I think it all comes down to the calendar. We use Metricool for all of our social media scheduling, and it is so phenomenal being able to look side by side with our internal content calendar, which is what's going to go on our website, what we're printing, and then also social wise, Metricool's content calendar of what we're promoting there. So we used to do certain days for certain things and then realize that that just doesn't work. That doesn't work for a living, breathing content calendar. And so depending upon we'll meet at the beginning of each week and kind of go through like what should we promote this week. That's not always possible for everyone, but if you can, looking a week at a time, that makes your social calendar a little bit more live, a little bit more interactive, and definitely a lot more relevant. If you're doing a month out, that's fine, but also just give space for things to pop up. For example, our CEO was just interviewed on a podcast yesterday and sent us the recording yesterday. So we're going to make room in the calendar and we're going to talk about that and we're going to share clips for that.
Yeah, love that. Okay, so I'm just going to walk through kind of also some ways that we can take the ideas we learned today. And, we talked about a lot of different tools, but I think especially social, like I'm sure a lot of us can agree that social is a place that we want to have more presence and also use it to drive traffic to our website, right? Because
Mhm.
obviously social is great for brand awareness, but I think sometimes the kind of conversion and that traffic is hard for a lot of brands to find and to find that kind of the ROI. So overall, the tool, some of our main kind of features, obviously social media scheduling. A lot of people don't know that we do have real-time website data as well. So it's great to understand where your traffic is coming from, analytics and reporting, inbox management. So you talked about like asking a user, and I think that um, DMs and comments are becoming a huge customer service channel. So, like, do not ignore the questions, the concerns that come through there. Really note those as ways to build other pieces of content solutions, etc. Competitor tracking, we talked a lot about, scraping competitor data. So this is a great way to look specifically for social. What patterns can you identify? Because maybe they're using the same content ideas on their website, on their blog. Maybe they have channels that they're publishing their blog content to. So monitoring that data. Ad management, if you do run ads, paid ads, and then link in bio customization, which is another huge piece of driving traffic to landing pages, websites, right? Like people now on Instagram, on TikTok, like this is where we drive people to because we can't link in content. So it's a really powerful, powerful tool. So the first thing is real-time website data, right? We want to monitor where our page views are coming from, visitors, traffic sources to help map that customer journey. Maybe it's not going to go as in depth as an offers of telling you all these different keywords, but it is a great touch point of just kind of seeing, okay, what pages are we seeing kind of the most traffic from? And then identifying top performing content pieces and patterns. So you can look into, 3 months, 6 months, a year, or even just the last few weeks or a month to understand what content is performing, identify some of those patterns. You can filter by, engagement or comments, to kind of, again, map that journey, and also what content people really resonate with so that you can create similar content. And then this is just another kind of list of the post. So you can see an overview of all of your channels. So you can see, okay, maybe we're pulling in, and our posts on LinkedIn are performing really well, or see kind of which channels are your top performing channels. I think that this year too, a lot of us have been like, I need to be everywhere and active on social, every single channel. And I think we're moving towards like honing in on a channel, a main channel, and then, using other channels as kind of secondary messengers and ways to amplify your message. So see what where most of your audience is and which content performs across all of your channels. Here's just a kind of screenshot of what the competitor data looks like. So you can monitor competitors' top performing content, Facebook, Instagram, X, or Twitter. I will always call it Twitter, YouTube, and then Twitch. But Twitch is kind of a one that's not super relevant for most of us, I don't think, unless there's any streamers out there. But you can plug in any public account and username to monitor, identify, not only benchmark kind of your performance on social, but then identify content gaps, keywords, topics that perform best in your industry. This is a great way to get kind of an idea, the same way that you said that you can scrape Google to see where those content gaps are. And then look into your audience demographics. We talked a lot about knowing your audience, what their user intent is, what their search intent is, but even just kind of this overall data of what age they're in. We have some great demographic data on LinkedIn specifically of like what industries are they in, kind of what seniority level, job function. This helps kind of map those behavior patterns even more to understand who you're talking to. Do you need to go a little bit more basic and be simple, or do you need kind of this higher level content that's going to build your authority as a go-to expert? And then, of course, maintaining the consistency. So taking the ideas that you're going to generate from the different, plans and steps that you shared, like just start building consistency. Users want to know and want to rely on you for content, and also, of course, the algorithms are going to reward you for staying consistent. You can also utilize the best times in our calendar to track kind of those peak hours when your audience is more active online. And then also, monitoring comments and DMs in the same place. So you're not having 5 tabs open of all your channels, trying to dig through messages that you might have missed or that you're not sure if a team member is going to address. So this is a way for you and your team to have a centralized place, and then you can start to map, okay, what are those, what is kind of the overall sentiment? What are common FAQs, pain points? You can organize kind of how the messages are read in the tool too, to again, just have a more organized, structured system for seeing what users are asking from, and what they want more of. So I know that we've thrown a lot of ideas, a lot of content and information your way, but I want to drop also just this QR code. This is, as I said, this is our last webinar of the year. So this is really like your last chance to try Metricool Premium for the year. If you want to, try it for 30 days for free. You can add your team members. You can download reports. You can have unlimited content scheduling across all major channels. So really take advantage of the tools and resources that we have. I mean, Ashley shared also a bunch of great tools and resources to use. And I know that, I mean, I'm sure you can agree that like there's so many AI tools that it can be a little bit overwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that honing in on the tools that actually work for you, that you like, that you can understand, and, really kind of simplifying our tech stack is where we're moving to.
Yeah, a simplified tech stack is everything, but also so hard with all of these new tools. But Metricool is a great one.
Thank you. Okay, again, I know we've thrown out a lot of information, a lot of ideas. So I want to answer any questions that might come in. So feel free to drop in the chat. Also, someone asked if I will share the presentation afterwards. So Ashley, I want to make sure it's okay with you that people
Oh, yeah,
could see the presentation. Cool.
most definitely.
Some gems in there. Like truly, that is such a good system and way to just generate new content ideas. As we go into the new year, like 100 ideas, that's 100 plus days of content. Like, come on.
Yeah, so good to start the new year off with that.
Yes. Okay. So someone asked, this is not related, but they subscribe to Metricool's newsletter, which is great. You won't get the post email if you didn't sign up directly, but if you have any questions, let me know. Because I'm happy to add you and share the email with you. But Metricool's newsletter is great too. Drops every Sunday. Yeah. No, everyone's clear. Everyone's like, all right, perfect. I got it. I know y'all got some questions. Come on.
We have a pool of experts on here now. They got it
For
down.
real, for real. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. There's so many ideas that are like in my head of just ways that, yeah, that you shared.
Thanks. And if anyone doesn't have a question now, but as you start to kind of like work through these processes and you're like, hey, I'm on this step, I'm a little stuck here, please always reach out to me on LinkedIn. Like, I love this stuff. This is my jam. This is fun to me, strangely. So if you ever have any questions about coming up with topic ideas or going through any of those steps, you can always message me. And I've helped a lot of people through that.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, well, yeah, reach out to Ashley if you have questions. Oh, we got a question. Is it best to use Notion for content calendar? Well, yes, if you prefer that tool, Notion is a great tool.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've used it. Ashley, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's a phenomenal tool. It all comes down to what interface you like best. Also, what do you have team capacity wise? Like, what kind of resources do you have? If everyone uses Notion on the team, use Notion. Google Sheets, it's cut, it's dry, it's easy. It could be shared with everyone, collaborated with everyone, different stakeholders, regardless of what your tool tech stack is, and it's free. So I always start with the recommendation there. And then of course there's a million other ways. Like you could even use ClickUp for this. It just depends on what your tool stack is.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, also Courtney asks, when taking on clients, helping them with their socials, content tracking, is Metricool still good to use for that? I mean, I'm pretty biased. I don't think I can say no. But I guess as someone who does use it for their clients, interested to just hear kind of, your thoughts.
Yeah, I really like the reporting feature and the reports that you get emailed to you. It's very clear what's working and what isn't working, and then I can forward that over to our clients and kind of continue the conversation from there. As far as like actual pieces of content and those KPIs,
Hmm.
that's going to be very dependent upon what you're trying to measure. If you're looking at social performance and website traffic, Metricool's got you covered. If you're looking at email signups or literal conversions or purchases, then like that's a whole nother suite of tools.
Yeah, exactly. I think that as much as we would love a tool that does literally everything in our business, we're not there yet, right? But yeah, in terms of the social performance strictly and like reporting, um,
Mhm.
it is a great tool. But again, I'm biased. Okay, this is also a question that we get asked all the time. Is it possible to schedule content on Metricool and add music and collaborators? So you can schedule content and add collaborators for Instagram, but unfortunately, the music piece is just a wide, not accessible yet. because tools haven't opened their API. I mean, of course, there's a lot of copywriting with music, so it's not possible yet, but hopefully it's coming one day and it will be an absolute game changer.
Yes.
And then also, I love that she's asking all that. I think that is a really great question, and I might need to pull up the tool to see, because are you asking this for like YouTube specifically? Because I know that for like Reels, short form content, no, but that is a good question if it's for YouTube specifically. So Esmeralda, let me know. But okay, that was so great. I think that people have so many good ideas and like are leaving with like great systems to build your content calendar, start to have, instead of just kind of being like, okay, we need to post content about this, or like having not structured systems and ways that are actually going to address your user intent, address your sales calls, like all of these things, they need to have a purpose. So
Yeah.
I hope that you address that. Okay, Esmeralda, maybe message me on the side because I need to double check if there is an option for that. I'm going to drop my LinkedIn as well in case anyone would like to connect. I know Ashley shared hers too, so I'll drop her LinkedIn,
Thanks.
the link to connect with her on LinkedIn as well. And yeah, it's been such a pleasure to have you. Maybe I'll see you in Bend in a few days.
I love it. I love it. Thanks so much for having me on, and thanks to everyone who joined. Appreciate it.
Of course. We will see you guys all in the new year. I hope that you all have a lovely holiday season. And of course, feel free to let us know like what other, workshops, sessions you are looking for, because we are always happy to add those and, provide you guys with some education that's important. So thank you guys all so much. We'll see you in the new year.